in the city of Erisapura, which was in the kingdom of Sibi. A son was born to him, which he also named Sibi. The prince reached manhood and went to Taxila to study. When he returned, he was filled with wisdom and knowledge, and his father made him viceroy of the kingdom. After the king's death, Prince Sibi became king and ruled his people justly and well. He had 6 alms halls built in the city, 4 at the city gate and 2 outside the palace. Every day, 600,000 pieces of money were distributed to the poor. On the 8th, 14th, and 15th day of the month, the king visited the alms halls to see the money was correctly given out. On a day of the full moon, he sat on the royal throne under the state umbrella, thinking of all that he had done for his people. Of all material goods, there is nothing that I have not given, but this kind of giving does not satisfy me. I want to give something that is a part of myself. Today, when I go to the alms hall, if anyone should ask for a part of my body, I shall gladly give it. If any man says that he needs a slave, I will take off my royal garb and go and do the work of a slave. If any man should ask for my eyes, I will forthwith take them out of my head and give to him. He bathed in 16 pitchers of perfumed water and put on his finest garments. After a meal of choice food, he mounted a richly decorated elephant and went to the alms hall. Saka, the king of the gods, decided to test King Sibi. He thought, King Sibi has determined to give his eyes to any man who should ask for them. When the time comes, I shall see whether he will be able to make the supreme sacrifice. King Saka disguised himself as an old blind Brahmin and stood outside the alms hall. When the king came riding by on his elephant, he stretched out his arms, crying, Great king, there is no place in all the world which does not echo with the fame of your good deeds. As you can see, I am blind. You have 2 eyes. I have come from afar to ask you for one of your eyes. The king thought, This is just what I was thinking in my palace today. My heart's desire will be fulfilled. I shall give a gift that no man has ever given before. He turned to the Brahmin. Who told you to come and ask for my eye? It is the most vital part of a man's body and difficult to part with. It was the king of the gods who told me to beg you for an eye, great king. Men say that to give an eye is the finest gift of all. Do not refuse me, King Sibi. Give me only one of your eyes, replied the Brahmin. You have asked for one eye, old Brahmin. I will give you both of my eyes. Upon saying this, King Sibi ordered the Brahmin to return to the palace with him. The whole city rang with the news that the king wanted to give his eyes to a blind Brahmin. The queens, the commander-in-chief of the army, the minister, and courtiers begged the king, Do not give away your eyes, great king. Give money, pearls, and coral. Give horses, elephants, chariots, and cloth of gold. Give your most precious things, but keep yourself safe and sound for your faithful people. We beg of you not to part with your eyes. I have vowed to give whatever is asked of me. If I break my oath, I will have committed the greatest sin of all sins. My soul will be in danger, and I will descend to Yamas, the god of the underworld's kingdom. Unasked, I would have given nothing, but the Brahmin demands my eyes. I must honor my promise. The courtiers asked, What do you desire in return for the gift of your eyes? What is the motive for your deed? Is it the prize of your life, beauty, joy, or power? Why must great Sibi give up his eyes for the sake of the next world? In giving my eyes, I do not seek glory, wealth, kingdoms, or many sons. Giving is the moral vow of all saints. My soul is filled with joy at the thought of making gifts. The king turned to his surgeon and ordered, "You are my friend and comrade, Sivaka. Do as I tell you. Take out my eyes with your skillful hands and give them to this blind Brahmin. Think carefully, my lord. To give away one's eyes is no small matter." "I have thought carefully, Sivaka. Do not delay and talk so much in my presence. Take out my eyes as I command." The king endured the agony in silence and said nothing while his comrades cried out loud. After a while, he beckoned the Brahmin to come closer. "Here, take my eyes, Brahmin, and place them in your sightless sockets. The eyes of awakening is 1,000 times more valuable than these human eyes. You have given me the opportunity to practice charity." The Brahmin placed the king's eyes in his sockets and left the palace. When he was outside the city gates, he resumed his original state of being, King Saka, and returned to the world of gods. Now that the king was blind, he remained within the palace, unable to move about freely. After a few days, he thought, "Blind man cannot rule. I will hand over my kingdom to ministers and go to a park and live as an ascetic." He then summoned his ministers and told them of his intentions, "And I will take only one man with me. He shall serve me and guide my footsteps." He sent for his chariot, but the courtiers would not allow the king to mount the chariot. They brought a golden litter and carried the king to the park. Having seen that the king was quite safe, they left him with one attendant and returned to the palace. Saka was seated on his throne in heaven and saw the king meditating in the park. He thought, "I will offer the king a prize and give him back his sight." He came down to earth in his own form and stood before the blind king. King Sivi heard a strange footstep and cried out, "Who are you, and what do you want with me?" "I am Saka, the king of gods, and I have come from heaven to visit you. I wish to grant you a boon, royal sage. Name whatever you will." "Osaka, I have wealth, strength, treasure beyond count behind. I want death and nothing more, for I am blind." "King Sivi, do you ask for death because you are blind, or do you wish to die?" "Because I am blind, my lord." "King Sivi, you made your gift thinking of the future. You were asked for one eye, yet you parted with both. Tell me the truth and why you did so, then only will your eyes be restored to you." "If you wish to give me back my eyes, Saka, let them be restored to me as a consequence of my gift. Though I am Saka, the king of gods, I cannot give an eye to anyone else. But on account of the supreme gift made by you, and for no other reason, your eyes will be restored to you." The king joyfully said, "Whatever man comes to me and asks for a gift, I will give it without question. If I speak the truth, then let my eye appear." As he uttered these words, one of his eyes reappeared in the empty socket. The king continued, "A Brahmin came to see me and begged for one of my eyes. I gave him both. That action of mine afforded the greatest joy and delight. If I speak the truth, then let my other eye appear." Instantly, his second eye reappeared, and these eyes were called eyes of absolute and perfect truth. Saka invoked his supernatural power, and the entire royal court assembled in the park. He said to the king, "King Sivi, as a reward for your supreme act of self-sacrifice, I now give you a pair of divine eyes. You will be able to see through rocks and walls, over hills and dales. 100 leagues on every side your eyes shall see." Saka then bade the king farewell and returned to heaven. surrounded by his courtiers. The king returned to the city, and amidst great pomp and ceremony entered his palace called Canada, or the Peacock's Eye. The news spread that their king had received his eyes back, spread through the kingdom of Sivi, and the people came to see him, bearing gifts in their hands. A large pavilion was set up at the royal gates, and the king seated himself on the royal throne under the state umbrella. Drummers went into the city to collect all the people together. When a large throng was gathered before the king, he spoke to his subjects. O people of Sivi, now that you have beheld these divine eyes, never eat food without giving something away. Which man among you, if asked to give, would refuse, though it be his dearest possession? These eyes of mine are the gift of God. Through rock and will, over hill and dale, 100 leagues on either side, these eyes can see. I gave a mortal eye, and in return received a divine eye. See, my people, always let others share in your good fortune. Do good to others, and you will go to heaven. On holy day and every fortnight, King Sivi preached thus to his people, encouraging them to lead virtuous lives. His subject gave alms, performed good deeds, and finally went to heaven to live forever among the celestial beings. In ancient India, the mighty King Sivi.
Show this off.